First of all, thank you very much, sir, for sparing the time for us. Sir, let me ask the first question. Is Pakistan a more Islamic country today than it was in 1947?
Yes, we are moving towards the Islamic objectives. Pace is very slow. In 47, it was only an idea. The political landscape was completely secular as well as that of a colony. So we had three challenges. First, how to develop as a free, independent state. Secondly, how to achieve our ideological, moral, social objectives. And third, how to develop into a modern, Islamic, democratic, welfare state and society. Independence gave us the opportunity. We have moved gradually towards the objective, but very slow. And the main contribution had been at the intellectual level, where the vision has been spelled out. At the level of implementation, we find both, on the one hand, forces of good have also increased, multiplied, but along with that, the challenges have also come, and by and large, I feel that we have not been able to translate the ideal, the dream, into reality. Yet we are moving in that direction.
Sir, you mentioned the word secular. So, Jamaat-e-Islami Hind, for example, accepts secularism. Jamiat-ul-Ulama Hind accepts secularism. But here some people think, it's a sinister conspiracy. So how do you...
I think it's a misconstruction altogether. Let us understand what is secularism. To be interested in secular issues of life, to face secular challenges, these worldly challenges, to build a lifestyle which meets the physical, material needs of the society, this is one dimension. And if you look into the history of Europe, for example, you will find that secularism emerged to perform three major functions. One was the worldly life was neglected by the men of religion, the clergy, the church. There was a need to address to the human issues. Secularism represented a shift of focus from the other world to this world. Secondly, there were denominational fights, bloodshed, excommunication, and particularly the 30 Years' Wars in Europe, after which the Treaty of Westphalia took place. And there they said that if religion is generating this conflict in society, let us move towards a secular ideal where all may exist, accept each other, and let religion be confined to a limited sector of our life.
So you don't...
That be complete. And third, because of enlightenment, the Renaissance, the Reformation and enlightenment rolled together, they gave a new paradigm for thought in society. And that was that divine guidance is not needed for human guidance. Rationality is human reason, experience, history. That's the end of it. And all our affairs should be conducted on that basis. Now, secularism contains all these three concepts. As far as the first issue is concerned, I have no quarrel. Because Islam deals with secular issues of life. So for me, secularism is not a threat. Because I accept secular reality and try to face all the challenges.
So you don't think it is a dirty word?
Not at all, in that sense. Secondly, as far as religious pluralism is concerned, my religion provides for that, tolerance and acceptance of variety. So, on these two counts I have no quarrel. My quarrel is where they say that secularism means separation of state and religion, religion to be confined to private domain of life only, and as far as the public domain is concerned, this has to be taken care of through human reason and experience only. That I regard to be something totally opposed to the Islamic view. So our quarrel with secularism is only on that count. Now as far as India is concerned, in India, Jamaat has never said that social life, political life, economic life can be conducted without reference to moral values and divine guidance. What they have said is that pluralistic society where all religions, all cultures should have an opportunity to exist and flourish. To that extent they have accepted. But they have never accepted the idea of demoralization or de-ethics of the society. That they have not accepted. So that is where we are at loggerheads with them. And Jamaat-e-Islami in Pakistan, all the Islamic movement all over the world, we all believe that while secular issues have to be faced within the context of an ethical, moral framework, plurality is important, and it is only coexistence of plurality, unity in diversity. But as far as the social, political, economic affairs, domestic, international are concerned, divine guidance, ethical values, morality has a very important role to play, and there cannot be a de-link between the two. So we challenge secularism on that.
Professor, do you think that Pakistan is a more tolerant country today than it was in 1947?
And particularly with reference to blasphemy laws, for example.
Well, I have lived through, I was in the Pakistan movement. I was a student, very active student. My family was engaged in the Pakistan struggle. My father was a member of the All India Assembly Council, which decided the basic policies. And I have seen what intolerance was. The riots, the bloodshed, the blind massacre. I have seen it in my own eyes. I have seen my own house looted and burned. I left my house with the clothes on my body. So I have seen that intolerance.
But earlier it was not. Earlier Muslims and Hindus were living in peace with each other.
They lived in peace throughout the Islamic realm of 1,000 years. But when
so what happened all of a sudden that it turned into hatred? And
I think it was the result of the colonial rule. And in the colonial rule they tried to divide Hindus and Muslims. Emergence of Hindu Mahasabha, Hindu nationalism and the Shehzad movement in the 19th century. And then the turning point was 1924 when communal riots began as an act of policy. And that culminated into the riots of 46, 47, 45, up to 47, 48. So it was in that context. But I must also say that unfortunately, during the last roughly 15-20 years, Pakistani society has become more intolerant. And not only Pakistani society, globally. The violence, the resort to violence has increased everywhere in the world. There were wars throughout human history, but wars of the 20th century, not only two world wars, but over 140 smaller wars. They have caused loss of human life in 1 century, which is more than all the human life lost in the earlier 4,000, 5,000 years.
my friend just talked about blasphemy laws. So don't you think that the blasphemy laws have enhanced the intolerance in the society? I recall we were discussing downstairs that SM Zafar said that blasphemy laws have stopped the path of preaching. Now Christians cannot put forward their point of view. That is construed in the ambit of blasphemy.
No, that's totally incorrect. Blasphemy law is not something new. And settling scores because of derogatory statement about religions has been a part of the life, particularly in this part of the world. And in post-World War phase, we find many incidents took place, because of which it was during the British rule that the criminal law, Article 295, was introduced. And that was with the purpose of...
No, I'm talking about 295C, that when there was not 295C, there were only 7 cases of blasphemy, and ever since the induction of 295C, there are more than 600 cases of blasphemy.
I understood that also, but I have to understand the background. So the law was to provide a mechanism to the society where if there is a violation, there is surrender, libel, derogatory statement about religions, it could be taken care of within the framework of law and not outside law. That has been the basis. Now, definitely 2 clauses have been added 295B and 295C. And that was primarily to protect, number one, all religions, number two, specifically Quran, and specifically Prophet Muhammad. Now, this is nothing new. In all religious traditions, blasphemy, which does not mean academic discussion, which does not mean argumentation, blasphemy means derogatory, insulting behavior. Bible, Old Testament, New Testament, both provide blasphemy is a crime, a sin, punishable by death. In the Old Testament, by stoning to death. In the New Testament, all sins can be forgiven, not blasphemy. This is so in the Quran and Sunnah also is part of that, and throughout our history it has been there. But very few cases of actual punishment and blasphemy, very few cases. So from that viewpoint, what has happened here is that unfortunately, not really in this case, in this country, laws are there, but laws are not respected, and laws are used to settle petty scores. Look to the murder and assassination, Article 302. Now, almost 70% of those who are in prison and who have been condemned to death have been false cases, false involvement. So abuse of law is a problem. Abuse of law should be taken care of separately. But that does not mean that we